Empress of Lycania. Previous episodes are available on the playlist. You can also visit our website for your favorite stories. A link is provided in the video description. Episode 6. Azalea Trey looks toward the tree line of the forest, and Tandy does the same. He couldn't have gone far, Tandy says, moving towards me while my head twists from side to side, searching for him. I'll go check the forest edge, Trey says. What's going on? Liam and Dustin yell out simultaneously when they see us staring in every direction. Tyson, I can't find him. I yell out over the howling wind. Dustin and Liam exchange looks before Liam jogs over to us. I'll check the cemetery, he says, running off and calling out Tyson's name. Clarice is checking inside in case he somehow got past one of us, Dustin tells me. Tears prick my eyes at the thought of losing him. Abby would never forgive me if something happened to him. I just don't understand. I turned away for only a second. Is he hiding? I'll check out the front, Dustin says, sprinting off before I hear the mind link open. Azzy, what is going on? Why are you upset? Kyson mind links. I've lost Tyson. I admit while frantically searching the gardens. Tandy scans all the cubby holes surrounding the castle. All guards, look out for Tyson, Gannon, and Abby's son, Kyson yells across the link. What about Tyson? Gannon booms through the link. Dustin answers him while Kyson continues talking to me. I'm on my way back, love. We found Larkin's empty car, he tells me, and I'm about to ask what he means when Tandy calls out. He isn't inside in the kitchens or laundry. I checked the cellar too, she says, an edge of panic in her voice. I just don't get why he would run off, I say just as he reaches me. We'll find him. He couldn't have gone far, Tandy tells me, looking around, trying to reassure me. The storm has really picked up. The clouds close in and take the light with them as thunder booms loudly and lightning streaks the sky with flashes of light. He was right here, though. He was right here, tugging my shirt, looking at them, the ducks. I blurt, my eyes going to the stables. The ducks are no longer on the little hill above the stables, and my heart flutters in my chest. The lake. I shriek in panic as I take off toward the stables. I rush to the narrow path and look down toward the lake and small pier. I can't see him anywhere when Tandy nudges me. There, she says, pointing toward the stables where the ducks are huddled outside the stable doors. My eyes widen, and I dash down the path toward the stables. The wind whips my hair around my face as I reach the bottom just as thunder rumbles across the sky followed by the deafening crack of lightning. The ducks squawk and quack, flapping their wings as I step through them. I rush into the stables, almost slipping, catching myself on the stable door as I turn and peer inside. Relief floods me when I see Tyson chasing a baby duck between the stalls. He has it cornered and is trying to coax it out with a piece of straw. Tyson! I breathe in relief, clutching my chest. My heart races so hard I think I might have a heart attack. At the sound of his name, he looks over his shoulder. Do, he cackles with laughter. Yes, duck, duck, I chuckle as Tandy walks in behind me. There you are, little man. Gave us a fright, she says, as I scoop him up off the filthy floor. The horses become spooked and start carrying on. Hay is blowing around the stables from the open doors, making the wind whistle loudly. Come on, we should get back before this storm hits. It won't be long before the rains pelt down, Tandy says as the wind chimes and buckets clang noisily, and the rafters creak, the tin roof groaning under the wind. The horses' hooves on the floor are loud as we make our way back out. Do, Tyson says, squirming in my arms, wanting to catch the petrified baby duck. No, we can play later. Don't you want to see Mummy? I ask him when we hear a bang. Help! I stop looking back into the stables at the spooked horses. Did you hear that? I ask Tandy. She looks around but shakes her head, and we head toward the doors. Help! I hear the sound of choking coughs as we draw nearer to the last stall before the doors. I stop again, looking at the spooked horse inside. I heard that. Tandy says before we hear a loud banging noise thump again. The horse jumps and goes up on its back legs, knocking down some bales of hay that were stacked on top of each other in there with the horse, which I find a little odd. Help! A voice croaks again before rapid, loud coughing. Tanner! I call out, thinking I recognize the voice. Tandy opens the gate of the stall, causing the horse to rush past us. We barely jump back in time as it barges out of the stables and into the storm. Tandy curses, trying and failing to stop it. One of the guards will grab her, I tell her. Down here. A barking cough comes, and Tandy turns to look at the floor and the giant floor-to-ceiling stack of hay that covers the entire rear wall. Tanner? Is that you? I yell out. Who is Tanner? Tandy asks, kicking the hay around to see if he has fallen over in the ruined stall. The gardener and one of the stable hands, I tell her when the coughing gets louder, and Tandy looks behind the bales of hay on the far wall of the stall when she steps on something hollow. She stomps her foot down, and I peer into the stall. She bends down and sweeps her hand across the floor. Down here, comes the barking noise again, and Tandy sweeps her hand furiously. Larkin, she yells, and I place Tyson down to help her. We can't find him. Where did you go, Azalea? Trey calls through the mind link. We found him, I quickly tell him, having forgotten with all the noise and becoming distracted. I gasp when Tandy hits a handle and looks at me. Is that a trapdoor? I whisper to her, forgetting about Trey in my head. Tandy pulls it, but it doesn't budge. Here, help me, she groans, and I grab the other handle, and together we rip it open. I fall on my ass, tripping over one of the fallen hay bales. Tandy jumps back as it flings open. Ah, thank the goddess! Come, Larkin's croaky voice. Larkin! Tandy says, peering down into the trapdoor. I get to my hands and knees and peek into the trapdoor, finding blue and purple lights. Larkin is tied to a chair that has fallen over. All around him are rows and rows of potted plants beneath the lights on tables. I sniff the air. Wolfsbane, I whisper. My eyes widen at what I see, and I open the mind link to report to Trey, Liam, and Dustin. Trey, we found, I begin before everything goes dark. Pain rattles across my head, and it feels like everything slows down. 1 second, I am peering into the trapdoor. Next, I am on the ground, my eyes zoned out as my head hits the floor when a shovel clunks loudly next to my head. My ears ring loudly, and I can feel the trickle of blood slowly sliver into my vision as it drips from where I was hit. Tyson, I can vaguely hear, is screaming, yet despite being near me, his voice sounds distant. I try to make sense of what happened before Tandy screams, and I blink, fighting to stay conscious, when she is shoved into the trapdoor, and the lid is slammed shut. Just like that, Peesh, Marissa. Just gotta stick your nose where it doesn't belong. I hear an angry voice. The mind link opens, and the last thing I hear is Kyson's panicked voice when someone grabs the scruff of my shirt, fisting it below my chin. Is that Tanner? The figure lifts me before I see his fist fly toward my face, and darkness swallows me. I swallow, my tongue feels thick in my mouth, and my arms hang limply by my head. I turn my head, looking around to find myself upside down over Tanner's shoulder, and we are deep within the woods. The mind link goes crazy when I hear shouting in the distance and smell the smoke from a fire somewhere. The stables are on fire, and I hear people shouting. Tanner curses and mutters, trudging through the woods, and I remain silent when I hear his phone ringing. Kyson. I murmur through the mind link, barely able to hold a conscious thought. My head is pounding like a drum, my skin laced in goosebumps from the dropping temperature. Where are you, Azzy? He rushes out. Woods. Tanner, I murmur. My consciousness wanes, and I feel queasy and so heavy as I sway with each step he takes. What else did you expect me to do? Just meet me at the tunnels. The plan can still go ahead. The hunters are already on their way. This changes nothing. I hear Tanner yell at someone on the phone before darkness sweeps over me once again. Kyson. Everyone frantically searches for Azalea, Tyson, and Tandy as Cedric and I pull up. Trey is in a panic because he can't feel her through the sire bond, and I can't feel her through our mate bond either. Cedric and I race toward where we can see smoke. I had been trying to force the mind link, failing to reach her, when all of a sudden, I suddenly feel her pain. I almost run the car off the road as the pain smashes through our bond. Despite leaving the entire guard here except for Cedric, trouble still found us, and they weren't enough to protect her. Now, all I can think about is finding her. I order Damien, Gannon, and Dustin to find Tyson and Tandy. The compulsion from the oath has them frantically caught between their queen and their mates and children, something I may have to reconsider. Azalea would be devastated if their desire to help her overruled that of Abby and Tandy or their children. Fire. The stables are on fire. Trey points to the stables. I can hear Damien shouting orders through the mind link while I'm trying to reach Azalea. It's utter chaos. Where is Tyson? Gannon, grabbing my arm. I see Abby race across the lawns toward the stables, screaming for her son. Guards are using hoses and buckets, trying to put the fire out. I run through the back doors of the stables. The trapped horses inside their stalls buck and try to break out as the flames draw nearer, licking up the walls and roof. Liam frantically rips the stall doors open, letting the horses out. Dustin calls out for Tyson, who I can hear crying, yet the smoke is so thick and the heat so intense the closer we get to the front of the stables. Black billowing smoke spews out, making it difficult to see, and the fire rages as the doors bang in the wind. Got him! Dustin yells before rushing past me, but I can't see Azalea anywhere or pick up her scent with the smoke. Dustin rushes out with Tyson in his arms. I cough and choke on the smoke while checking the stalls for Azalea when I feel her wake. The mind link flickers weakly as if she is trying to reach me. Kyson, she murmurs through it. Her consciousness is weak through the bond, and I can feel how much pain she is in my own head, throbbing along with hers. Where are you, Azzy? I rush out, knowing she won't be conscious for long. Woods. Tanner, she murmurs, and I can feel her slipping away from me. Stay with me, love. Hold on. I need you awake so I can find you, I tell her, but the link dissolves no matter how much I try to hold on to it. Get to the woods. It's Tanner. I scream across the link and hear the howls of the Landina guards outside as they take off through the woods in hunt of their queen. On it! Liam yells out from somewhere outside. Liam and Trey rush off the moment Trey feels that sliver of her consciousness, trying to follow his sire Bond. I attempt to navigate my way out of the enormous stables when I hear Damien's voice. Tandy! Damien screams out as he rushes into the stall across from me. Kyson, help me! Damien yells as I am about to run for the door to go after Azalea. With a growl, I move to help him find her top half trapped beneath a trapdoor. He opens the lid, and I rip her out. The trapdoor falls heavily to the ground with a loud thud. Tanner, your gardener. He took Azalea, Tandy gasps as I hear the cracking of the tin roof above us. It is going to cave in any minute, and we need to get out of here. Larkin is down there, she gasps, choking on the smoke. I pass her off to one of the guards, who is helping free the horses. He quickly takes her and runs out with her. My vision burns as the smoke gets thicker. My lungs wheeze with each breath. The old tunnels. And I think I figured out who was supplying the wolf's bane to that witch. Damien growls as I look into the trapdoor. Larkin wriggles on the ground, shackled by rope and silver chains that I can smell were doused in wolfsbane. Don't just stand there. Help me, he chokes out. Damien grits his teeth, and I know he believes if he let him die, all his issues would be solved. I need to find Azalea, I tell him. I couldn't care less for Larkin right now when my mate is in the woods somewhere. Shifting, my vision adjusts, and my hearing strengthens as I shove out the doors and run for the forest. I can hear every crunch of the twigs and leaves, even over the raging storm. Sniffing the air as I run, I pick up her scent in minutes, along with the savage sounds of fighting. Bursting through a thicket of trees, I find Azalea unconscious on the ground. Liam and Trey have Tanner pinned to the ground as he thrashes and snarls. His brown lichen form is drenched in blood, yet I race toward Azalea. Rolling her over, I scoop my arms beneath her. As I hold her in my arms, her head rolls backward. There's a deep gash across her hairline and into her hair. In addition to that, her chin was also covered in a large bruise. Don't kill him! I snarl as Liam grabs his head, getting ready to break his neck. Get him to the old dungeons. We need answers. I growl at them. Tanner roars, trying to flail and get free, knowing precisely what the old dungeons are used for. Tanner is dragged through the woods by them. Dustin comes to help, and as we finally reach the back of the castle near the stables, I find Abby clutching Tyson up on the hill. Ganon has Tandy dragging her away from the raging fire of the stables. My men are still trying to put out the flames, using a pump and pumping water straight out of the lake just as the rain hits. It pours, making the ground slippery, but it will help to douse the flames before the fire can spread to the surrounding forest. Running past the stable, Damien smacks Larkin's back as he hacks and coughs. He looks up as I pass him and nods his head. Lock the place down. I call across the mind link. And get me the town doctor. I order, hearing a unison of yes return through the mind link. Just as we step through the threshold into the huge foyer, Azalea begins to wake. Tyson. She mutters. We got him, love. Tandy too, I tell her, hugging her closer and inhaling her scent as I climb the stairs. Dustin is hot on my heels, and I see Liam drag a kicking and screaming Tanner through to the kitchens. Dustin, you are to wait with Azalea, I tell him as I push the door open with my hip. I lay her on the bed before moving her hair to look at the gash, careful not to cut her with my claws. She drowsily stares up at me, her eyes rolling, and I can see she has a severe concussion. Leaning down, I lick the wound, which looks like it is trying to seal itself. It does take me a few tries to pinch the skin together, but eventually, it seals shut. Mind link me with what the doctor says. Also, when she wakes up, I tell Dustin, who nods, taking her hand in his hand as he sits with her. Stepping out of my quarters, Abby rushes past me and into the room. Ganon behind her. Need me to handle the gardener? He asks, but I shake my head. No. That is mine. I growl, moving toward the stairs. Walking back through the corridors, I feel the chaos unfolding around me. The storm was in full swing, and guards and staff rushed around to secure everything and lock us down. Moving through the kitchen, I head for the pantry. I walk down to the cellar before walking down to the cells. Moving to the back cell, I find the trapdoor already open and descend the stairs to the old dungeons. I immediately feel the cold draft of the dungeons, the concrete steps making my heavy footsteps echo off the old stone walls. I hear the clanging of the chains and Tanner's screams as Liam and Trey chain his arms and legs to the old wooden rack. The rack has rollers at each end, and once secured, you could turn the levers, and it would stretch them. It is a rather painful and gruesome death, reserved for the worst kinds of people. Tanner is one of those people. He touched my queen, and he would pay with his life. But not before I tortured the answers out of him. The old iron-barred door creaks as I pull it open, and Tanner's cries grow louder when he sees me step into the cell. Trey snarls and backhands him. His head whips to the side. Get back to your sire. I will handle him, I tell Trey, who is all too happy to go back to his queen. Moving around the table, Liam clips the silver strap across his head so he can't lift it while I grab a hose and funnel. Get me some wolfsbane, I tell Liam, who rushes off to get what little supply we have left. Funny how we struggled to source it, and this worm has been growing it beneath our noses this entire time. I can explain. Tanner whimpers as I set the funnel beside him for when Liam comes back. I drag my claws down the side of his face and lean down. That you will, I growl, grabbing his hand and lifting it. I place it in the vice grip before twisting the lever. His screams echoed off the stone walls as I crush his hand slowly, listening to each bone break. And this would be just the beginning. No one wants to be down in the dungeons with me. You know you trapped up if I bring you here, because once down here, you never leave. Or if they do, it's in pieces. Azalea Dustin stands beside me, holding my hand as my eyes flutter open. Relief floods me when I see the canopy over my bed, along with Dustin's face peering down at me, and not Tanner's. Finally, Dustin exhales and his eyes glaze over as he mind links someone. Tyson? Tandy? I blurt out. Downstairs. Everyone is in the ballroom. This storm is horrendous, Abby says, and I feel the bed dip beside me. Abby sweeps my hair back from my face. Tyson is on her lap, his head resting against her shoulder, fast asleep. Why the ballroom? I croak, sitting up. Instantly, pain rattles through my skull, and vertigo washes over me as I try to remember anything besides seeing Tandy chucked down the trapdoor. Love. I hear Kyson's voice flit through my head, making me clutch it. Sorry, I will be up soon. You have a bad concussion, he tells me, and I nod before remembering he can't see me. Dustin taps my shoulder, and I look up. He holds a bottle of water out to me before passing me some pills. Painkillers, he says, and I nod. He drops them into my palm, and I pop them into my mouth, and he helps me tip the bottle to my lips, so I can swallow them. Where are you? I mind link Kyson, trying to ignore how the mind link feels like someone is drilling a hole in my head. I grit my teeth through it, and Dustin moves off the bed and wanders to my closet. I'll be there soon. But we found out some answers from Tanner, he tells me. You're with Tanner. Where? It doesn't matter where. I don't want you down here. I am sending Liam back up there to sit with you. He is swapping places with Gannon for a bit, he is now on his way to me, Kyson says when Liam interrupts the link. I will be up soon, my queen. Just need to shower quickly, Liam tells me before he cuts the link. I'll see you soon, Kyson assures me before he too cuts the link abruptly, and I don't even want to know what he is doing to Tanner. Once you're up to it, I will send for something to eat. You should try to eat. Shouldn't we be heading to the ballroom? I ask. No, the storm is almost over. We just put those living in the east and south wings down there. The roof started leaking, and the place got flooded. And a tree fell through the servants' quarters wall. We are unscathed here so far. Yet, it is blowing over. Though now I know you're awake and okay, I might go down and help Clarice and check on Tandy, if you don't mind. Abby tells me. No, of course. You didn't have to wait with me, I tell her, and she raises an eyebrow at me as if that were the stupidest thing I have ever said. I roll my eyes, causing me to wince at the motion, and she laughs softly. Abby leans over and presses her lips to my head. More than my life, I whisper. Always more, she replies before cradling Tyson and wandering toward the door. Dustin asks Clarice to have one of the cooks bring up a snack, despite telling him I am fine and just thirsty. Only 10 or 15 minutes later, Liam walks in, freshly showered. His hair is still damp as he strolls into the room. He pecks Dustin on the cheek, who is watching me like he is waiting for me to drop to the ground, as I pull Kaisen's robe on that Dustin got from the closet. Kaisen said you got some information from Tanner. Liam bites his bottom lip, and I raise an eyebrow, waiting for him to answer. He was supplying the hunters and Vivian with wolfsbane. We also found out the connection to the council and Esther, Liam tells me. I sit back on the bed, and Dustin cracks his neck and yawns while tiredly stretching his arms above his head. What's the connection? I yawn before glaring at Dustin. His yawning is contagious. I just woke up, no way I should be tired. He smirks and shakes his head. So, it turns out when Garrett kicked Esther out, he ordered Crux to take her for an abortion, Liam tells me. He ordered Crux to take her. Yes, and Crux was to take her to Vivian. She was known for her concoctions and could make a potion to abort a Lycan fetus. How does that link to Tanner, though? To abort a Lycan baby, they used to give liquid mercury and high doses of wolfsbane. Vivian was out of wolfsbane, so Crux had to meet her supplier, that supplier was Tanner. Apparently, when Esther started working here, she was blackmailing Tanner for his little side business. They had an agreement that neither of them knew the other. But she didn't have the abortion. Yes, we know. Apparently, she cut a deal with Crux, Liam tells me. What kind of deal? I ask. Liam shakes his head and shrugs. Tanner doesn't know. He just knows they have one, Liam tells me. So, what is Kaisen doing now? Trying to find out what his plans were. How much he was plotting with the hunters. Anything really, Liam says. Kaisen Gannon pulls the funnel out of Tanner's throat with excruciating slowness, causing him to choke, gurgle, and sputter on the remnants of the wolfsbane. The acrid taste of sulfur lingering on his tongue, his blood drenches the floor beneath him, and his hand that is trapped in the vice, is gruesomely split down the middle. With a sickening twist, I hear the final crunch as the vice grip closes, severing his hand in two. Tanner's screams reverberate through my veins, sending shivers down my spine. Seizing the old lead sprinkler, Gannon's eyes gleam with sadistic intent. Originally, a medieval torture device designed to shower victims with molten lead, we have repurposed it, filling it with sulfuric acid. The giant ladle-like contraption has an iron handle and a sphere at the bottom, brimming with corrosive acid. Gannon begins shaking it vigorously, a malevolent grin spreading across his face as he showers Tanner's writhing form with the burning liquid. Even in his agonized state, Tanner manages to rasp out defiant words between his hoarse screams. What do you plan to do with the hunters? And where is Esther, Tanner? I demand, my voice laced with determination. Gannon withdraws the lead sprinkler, yet the flesh continues to be eaten away by the acid. He reaches for the baking soda to neutralize the corrosive substance, but Tanner's wails persist, his breath straining from choking on wolfsbane and his own harsh screams. I hope they annihilate all of you. Tanner rasps defiantly. I click my tongue in disapproval and shift my attention to his feet. Grasping the top of his foot and his ankle firmly, I yank and twist with a deliberate force, contorting his foot in a sickeningly wrong direction. The bones snap, and Tanner's screams echo through the room. Moving to the next foot without hesitation, I prepare to inflict the same agonizing pain. What are their plans, Tanner? This ends when you divulge what I need to know, I growl, my voice dripping with raw fury. Tanner's laughter fills the air, a sadistic sound that sends chills down my spine. He cackles as if this is some twisted joke, relishing in our torment. Has the storm subsided? He taunts, before choking on his own blood. Ganon slaps him, attempting to clear his airway, and swiftly removes the silver strap holding his head in place. He turns Tanner's face away from the danger of suffocation, ensuring we extract the information we need. Tanner spits out blood, his dazed eyes glinting with a wicked smile as he looks up at the ceiling. Pain, such a fickle thing. You won't break me, my king, he sneers, his voice laced with venomous defiance. I growl in frustration, and move to break his foot. Oh, how she screamed, yet no sound escaped her lips. That's when you know you've broken them, he taunts sadistically, causing Ganon to glance at me. Plop, Tanner chuckles darkly. Her body just plopped right at her feet. His laughter intensifies, emanating a sinister aura. But it made even me sick when she stuffed your nephew back inside her. I always knew she was unhinged, but she completely lost her mind. It disgusted me to witness it. You should have seen the look on Claire's face when she killed her mate. Priceless. The poor fool didn't stand a chance. She woke up just as I drove that dagger through his chest. But her baby? Dead the moment he fell at her feet. It was as if her soul abandoned her as she stared down at him. His words drain the blood from my face, leaving me pale and shaken. He's trying to provoke you, Kaisen. He wants you to kill him. Ganon snaps, gripping my wrist tightly as my fingers instinctively reach for Tanner's throat. I hadn't even realized I was moving toward his head. Tanner giggles like a deranged schoolgirl. That bitch couldn't keep her mouth shut. She had to run to your sister when she caught Esther and me preparing our deliveries for the council. She ran, yes she did, he laughs sinisterly. Who ran? Ganon demands, his grip on my wrist tightening as my hand trembles, hovering dangerously close to Tanner's throat. Marissa. She moved into the castle and discovered Esther, didn't she? Started scheming to expose her, but then she took it a step too far by following us. The bitch went straight to Claire. Couldn't mind her own business. Had to interfere, Tanner spits with venom. Claire, always the righteous one. She played by the rules. Instead of coming to you directly, she confided in the council and requested a meeting with us the next morning after your blood donations. We knew she'd run to you the moment you returned. She made the mistake of contacting Crux, who gave us a little heads up. So we took care of it. Tanner laughs, relishing in his own malevolence. My other hand twitches, but Ganon swiftly grabs it, preventing it from descending upon Tanner's head. He growls fiercely, his voice filled with warning. Keep your head or get out. Ganon roars. How can he say that? He killed Claire and tried to kill my mate. He had killed my nephew. The hunters. What are their plans? Ganon demands, his voice commanding as he begins turning the handle on the rack, stretching Tanner's limbs to their limits. Tanner's screams pierce the air, echoing with unbearable agony. As much as I desire to end his miserable existence, Ganon is right. Killing him prematurely will yield no answers. Plop, Tanner laughs, just as Liam nonchalantly descends the steps, whistling a tune. His presence seems incongruous amidst the grim scene unfolding before us. The storm has passed. Look at you, growing like a weed. Tanner taunts, his laughter punctuating the room. I've always liked you, Liam, such a shame about Claire, Tanner chuckles, his voice laced with a twisted kind of fondness. Liam tilts his head to the side. What did he say about Claire? Liam asks, and I see him stagger back. Liam, get out if you can't handle it. I am already trying to stop Kyson from killing him. Out or stay back. Gannon warns him. Gannon twists the handle beside me, forcing Tanner's body to stretch even further, tearing his skin under immense pressure. His screams tear through the air, filling the room with an ungodly symphony of pain. But I have listened to enough of this vile creature's taunts. I need answers now. Pushing Gannon and Liam aside, I thrust my hand into Tanner's diaphragm, plunging deep into his innards. I fish around, searching for his spine, until my fingers close around it. Tanner chokes and gasps, his body convulsing in agony as I halt my movement just before he succumbs to shock. Wait, he rasps, lips turning grey. My claws pierce through his abdominal aorta, blood pooling around my hand. Where are they? I roar into his face, watching as terror flickers in his widening eyes. His mouth opens in a silent scream as I maintain my grip on his spine, refusing to release him from his excruciating torment. He smiles, his eyes fluttering, and I know he is teetering on the edge of unconsciousness or bleeding out. Despite lying on his deathbed, a twisted smile adorns his face, and my heart pounds erratically in my chest at his final words. They're already here, Tanner breathes. A primal growl escapes my throat as I clench my teeth, squeezing my fingers around his spine, and with a savage jerk, I rip my hand out, tearing his spine away from his body. Blood sprays in all directions, and drenches us. Azalea Dustin firmly grasps my arm as we cautiously descend the steps, his grip hindering my steps. Annoyed, I repeatedly attempt to shake him off. I am feeling much better now that the painkillers have taken effect. The throbbing in my head has subsided. Dustin, I assure you, I am perfectly fine, I assert, my voice echoing my frustration. The storm outside has finally abated, allowing a few of the servants to gather near the doors, their curious gazes fixed upon the aftermath of the destruction it unleashed. Just as we reach the bottom of the stairs, near the entrance to the bustling kitchen, a guard approaches us. A tree has crushed the main gates. A few of us will go out with chainsaws to remove it. Damien wants us to check the town to see if anyone needs help, he tells Dustin, who nods, waving him off. We start walking down the corridor toward the ballroom when we spot Rachel, one of the servants that works in the kitchen, peering out the enormous windows that run along it. Storm was wild, she remarks, her attention momentarily diverted from her duties as she turns her attention back to the windows. It obliterated the east wing. It will need before Rachel can complete her sentence, a deafening explosion roars through the air, staining my face with splatters of crimson as shards of glass erupt from the window where she stands, along with an entire section of the wall. Chaos ensues as debris and stone hurtle in every direction. Damien's voice cuts through my consciousness via our mind link, piercing my thoughts and sending my blood cold. We are under attack. Damien booms, warning everyone through the mind link. Reacting instinctively, Dustin shoves me aside, narrowly averting the impact of a second explosion. I duck for cover, barely avoiding falling debris. Head to the tunnels. Dustin's urgent command reverberates through the air, reaching anyone within earshot. Meanwhile, gunfire erupts outside, its thunderous echoes mingling with the sound of shattering glass as bullets mercilessly pierce through the remaining windows, transforming them into a cascade of shards. Azalea. Kyson screams through the link, and I can feel him racing to get to me. I feel his presence getting closer when men in armor start coming in through windows, doors, and blown-out walls. Dust clings to my body, obscuring my vision, and it is then that I realize my hands are inexplicably wet. Blinking away the haze, I glance down to discover that I have unwittingly tripped over a severed piece of Rachel's torso. Limbs litter the corridor, a gruesome sight that elicits a horrified scream from deep within me. I scramble to my feet and run toward the doors at the end of the hall. Get inside and lock the doors. Dustin snarls before turning and racing to join the fray as hunters come from every direction. Abby! I scream desperately, praying that upon opening those doors, I won't be confronted with the sight of lifeless children and staff members. As I approach the massive doors, they swing open forcefully, allowing a flood of daylight to spill in from a demolished wall. Clarice emerges from the chaos, her eyes wide with alarm, as the children race towards me. I wave my arms frantically to get their attention, knowing they are running straight into the action. Clarice swiftly seizes their hands and redirects them towards the corridor on her right. Get to the tunnels. I yell at her, and her head whips up and turns in my direction just as Abby and Tandy rush out the doors. We meet and take off along with the servants that survived the blast toward the back doors. There are tunnels in the woods. There's a bunker not far from here. Clarice yells through the mind link, and I scoop up Oliver as he slows while Clarice clutches Logan's hand. Our feet pound on the stone floor to the double doors that lead toward the gardens when an explosion goes off directly behind us. The roof crashes down around us, and I am tossed into a wall. Darkness momentarily steals my vision, and my ears ring loudly. Harsh fingers grip my arm and my eyes fly open to see Tandy, her grip strong and urgent as she yanks me to my feet. The stone floor beneath me is rough and uneven, causing me to stumble as I run. I can see her lips moving, but I hear no sound. I see Peter grab Oliver as he chases after Clarice. The air is thick with the stench of smoke and burning debris. The metallic scent of blood and the acrid smell of gunpowder fills my nostrils. When my hearing returns, I clutch my ears. Explosions and screams fill the air, punctuated by the sound of our pounding feet on the stone floor. The roar of the collapsing roof and the shattering of glass grows louder as the castle is continuously blasted. Where are you? Trey yells through the mind link just as someone outside opens the doors. Everyone screeches to a halt, and Clarice shifts, snarling savagely as she puts her body between us and the door. Yet when the doors open, it is Trey. He rushes in, his eyes scanning everyone's faces with relief when they land on me. "We have to go," he shouts over the chaos. "They're coming back." He waves us forward, and everyone rushes out as he points toward the forest. Servants rush out, ducking their heads, and I see Abby behind me, clutching Tyson. She is bleeding, looking dazed, struggling to hold his thrashing body. Trey takes him from her before we all start racing toward the tree line and the cover of the trees. Without hesitation, we follow into the gardens. The once beautiful landscape is now a battlefield, littered with debris and bodies. I see hunters running and shouting in every direction, some trying to escape, while others continue to fire at us as guards fight to keep them back so we can get to the bunkers. Trey leads us towards a wooded area on the edge of the property, but the path to the bunkers means running across an open field by the cemetery. We sprint across the open area, dodging bullets and ducking behind tombstones when necessary. The sound of gunfire echoes all around us as we try to run toward safety. Kyson, I can feel he is injured, yet with everything going on, I don't have time to worry. Shouting and screaming ring out loudly, and the place has turned into a war zone. It is challenging to tell our guards from the hunters, except for the insignia emblazoned on their chest armor. We race up the small incline behind Trey, and I push Abby forward as we try to escape the chaos behind us. I see Clarice stop up ahead, her hand held by Oliver, until Peter takes him and runs off. Tandy stands beside Clarice, her eyes wide with panic. Just as we reach them, Tandy's expression changes to one of pure terror, and she lets out a blood-curdling scream. I turn around to see what has caused Tandy's reaction, and my heart stops. Time seems to stand still as my eyes scan the scene in front of me. Logan wanders around the carnage like a little boy lost, dazed, covered in dust and blood. I don't think, I just react and take off for him, dodging lichens and men fighting all around us. Reaching for him, my heart pounding in my chest, I wrap my arm tightly around his waist and pivot on my heel, our bodies melding together as I tuck him close. The soft wet grass beneath our feet betrays us, causing my foot to slip just as the deadly whiz of bullets fills the air, their menacing trajectory narrowly missing us by a hair's breadth. Out of my peripheral vision, I can see Gannon on the flat terrain before the hill down to the stables, fighting alongside his men. Kyson, I can't see, but I know he is alive. Trey's screams pierce my ears as he shoves Tyson into Clarice's arms. My feet slap the grass as I race for the meager protection of the building's side. Abby waves urgently, her eyes wide with fear. My shoes slip on the dew-slicked lawn and Logan tumbles from my grasp. I blink, momentarily dazed, and reach for his flailing limbs just as Abby's shriek splits the air. I look up to see her sprinting toward me when a bullet's hot kiss burns my shoulder. Hissing, I grab Logan with my good arm. Growls and snarls tear through the air as Abby's horrified eyes fix on something behind me just as she reaches me. Her body crashes into mine, arms enveloping me in a tight embrace, spinning me around. My gaze locks onto the hunter behind us. In his hand, he grips a gun that was once aimed at me but is now aimed at Abby. The deafening sound of the gunshot splits the air. Abby jolts against me, her sharp intake of breath slicing through the chaos, becomes the loudest thing I've ever heard. A wave of warmth spreads from where she clings to me, my heart halting as the metallic tang of blood taints the air. Her hushed, garbled words graze my ear, more than my life. Horror rises within me like a torrent, a guttural scream tearing through the silence as her blood sputters out her lips and sprays across my face. Abby! No! I scream as her weight slackens in my embrace. Logan remains trapped between us. Ganon's mournful howl splits the sky, the sound slicing through me. Abby! Abby! My cries ring out desperately, willing her back to life, as Tyson's anguished wail echoes in the background. My eyes lock onto the hunter as he raises his weapon once more. Yet, it is Trey who intervenes, crashing into him with force. Despite everything, I am frozen, caught in an endless moment of agony as I clutch her lifeless form. Abby's blood stains my arms as her gaze drifts skyward, crimson tears trickling from her eyes, as blood spills from her parted lips as she gasps, blood bubbling out her lips which lose focus, then lose their light. Kyson 30 minutes earlier. Tanner's lifeless body lies splayed on the rack, his unseeing eyes fixed on the ceiling as the last wheezing breath escapes his lips. I scrub the blood from my hands and face, not wanting to startle the staff or children with the gory remnants. The copper tang of blood fills my nose despite my efforts. I must act quickly, strategize our next move because his last words mean the hunters are close. I need to send out some scouts to ensure that there are no hunters or council members on the premises. As for Tanner's body, it will have to be dismembered and disposed of in the furnace by Ganon and Liam. I head to the stairs when the ground rumbles violently, knocking me unbalanced. Choking smoke and dust billow through the air as debris rains down. My ears ring from the thunderous noise above. Blinking through the haze, I spot Ganon and Liam's hazy figures. Bruised and bloodied but alive. My ears finally stop ringing as I get to my feet in fear for Azalea. I sprint for the stairs when white-hot pain rips through my side. The acrid scent of wolfsbane fills my nostrils. Hunters, they are in the tunnels with us. Rage boils up inside me and I shift, my vision coming into focus through the red haze of my rage. They have taken enough from us, made orphans of our young, refugees of our people. I see Ganon and Liam shift too, their golden eyes burning with fury. We move as one, ripping through the hunters, shredding them until no heartbeats remain but our own. I scream to the others through our mind link, ordering them to the tunnels and bunkers. Ganon and Liam rush to protect Azalea and the others, not that they have a choice with the pact oath. It would be instinct to them, leaving me to check the tunnels. I stalk through the back tunnels, making sure there aren't any hunters left hiding, while all I want to do is find Azalea. I get no reply from Azalea, yet I can feel she is alive, although panicked. Trey, I know, is trying to get her and gives me a rundown of what is going on above while I scour the tunnels, ripping the wires from bombs planted beneath the castle everywhere. The ceiling above explodes, sending rocks and debris crashing down on me as I hit a fork in the tunnels. I turn to my left, wanting to take the tunnel that comes out by the river. When the tunnel starts exploding, I am forced to run in the opposite direction toward the tunnels leading to the stables and forest. As I approach the entrance located directly beneath the charred remains of the stables, the clash and din of battle above echo through the tunnel. Amidst this turmoil, a faint whizzing sound barely registers in my ears before a scorching pain brings me to my knees. A dart is lodged in my torso, another strikes my chest as I collapse onto the cold ground. I wrench it free, and am immediately assaulted by the pungent smell of wolfsbane. Lifting my head with a growl, I strain to see through the thick smoke for whoever has attacked me. The dose of wolfsbane won't be deadly, but it's enough to hinder me. Too many could knock me out. Using one hand against the stone wall for support, I struggle back onto my feet, swaying as the poison courses through my system. A voice that ignites deep resentment echoes from ahead. Esther's voice. You just had to claim that whore as your mate. I would have ignored Crux's plan altogether if you hadn't chosen her. It should have been me as your queen, she spits venomously, waving a dart gun aimed at my heart. I was ready to abandon Crux's deal until she showed up like some ghost from the past. Should have killed her when we found them in that forest. She pulls the trigger just as I hurl myself against the opposite wall. The dart narrowly misses its mark and clatters behind me on impact with another explosion overhead, causing tremors throughout the tunnel. Her eyes widen with fear as she realizes we're about to be buried alive. With a low growl, I retrace my steps towards an alternate tunnel leading into the nearby forest. Esther's furious roars echoes behind me along with her relentless tirade, while dust and smoke provide some concealment from her aim. The chances of getting close while she carries that gun are slim, leaving me no option but to run. The wolf's bane is burning my veins, draining my strength with each passing moment. I wince and duck as another explosion shakes another nearby tunnel. Trey found the queen, comes a voice through the mind link as I navigate through the debris of the collapsed tunnel towards a new route which will deposit me into the forest adjacent to our bunkers. The metallic echo of Esther discharging her weapon follows by a dart whizzing past my head. In these constricted tunnels, she holds an advantage not only because of her smaller size but also her weapon, which will stop me from getting too close to her. One more hit and it's game over for me. She knows it too, hence her relentless mockery as I push myself to keep moving. Marissa told me Azalea was dead. Stupidly, I believed her. Had I known she was alive, I would have finished her off too. Her father ruined me. He used me, she screams as I try to keep moving. I just need to burn it out of my system. If I stop, I know I won't get back up. What is in those darts? I curse, my legs faltering as my pace slows. I thought he loved me. She laughs like a maniac, and I can hear her drawing closer. Turns out he was fooling around with me to piss off my brother. What better way to get back at his wife's mate than to his sister? Prick, she curses and I try to focus on moving, each step, taking serious effort on my part. Then he tried to destroy me and take my baby from me. I kept thinking maybe Garrett would change his mind once he was born. How was I supposed to know he wouldn't inherit the Lycania gifts? And he shunned me again, but I made him pay for that mistake. Crux was right. Garrett Lycania was nothing but a manipulative asterisk. I hear her rambling like she has something important to say, but do my best to ignore her. Seeing the light up ahead, I feel another dart skim past me, the feathers grazing my cheek as it narrowly misses me. The sounds of panicked servants reach my ears, and relief floods me, knowing they got out and are near the bunkers to take cover, so I know Azalea must be close by. I just have to get to her. Seeing the narrow opening up ahead, I push harder, forcing myself to run, and drop my shoulder. This one comes out on the mountainside, with the wire gate blocking the entry. I see kids rush past the exit heading for the bunker with the castle servants, and my shoulder crashes against the mesh, making them jump just as Peter runs by me. I crash through the mesh just as she growls and tosses the now empty dart gun at me. It hits me on the downfall as I burst through the meshed gate and spill out onto the ground. My body rolls as my momentum is off, and I slam against a tree. Esther growls, stepping out of the open tunnel, and stalking toward me. Yet, the wolfsbane in my system burns my veins like acid and scorches my insides as it makes its way through muscle and tissue, rendering me incapable of moving forward. I groan, pushing up off the ground with one hand, knowing I have to get to Azalea, but first I need to end this peesh. My vision blurs as she stalks toward me, and I force myself up, swaying as I clutch the tree I rolled into. Staggering, I swing wildly at her, and she laughs, jumping back as my vision doubles. Yet, I can feel it is slowly and painfully burning out of my system. Whatever she gave me was stronger than just wolfsbane. However, the more I push through the pain, the toxins burn out, slowly. My muscles no longer spasm the way they had been, though my vision is dangerously blurry. I enjoyed killing Claire, but I think I will enjoy killing the Lycan King more. Esther laughs when I see a shadow move behind her. My eyes flick back to her. She flexes her fingers, her claws slip free, and she raises her arm to swing at me. My reflexes are slower yet still, my hand whips out at the last second, catching her wrist, when I hear a scream. Esther tenses and staggers, forcing me to let her go as she stumbles toward me and falls onto her knees. Only when I do, I notice Peter behind her, a branch in his hand. He lifts it, swinging it again at her head before turning into a frenzied rage and raining blow after blow down on her as I try to remain upright. I loved you. I loved you, but you didn't love me. You were my mother. Why didn't you love me? He roars, repeatedly swinging the branch at her head, caving her skull in. Tears streak down his face as he bashes her head in, crushing her skull into the earth. Brain matter spills out her ears and through the back of her skull as it cracks open like an egg. Still, he swings, the branch breaking in his hands when I grab him, hauling him back with my arm across his chest. He screams, brandishing the broken branch, and I look down at Esther. Her head is crushed under his blows and no longer distinguishable to the eye. Enough, Peter! I rasp. She's dead, you've killed her, I tell him, and he breathes heavily, taking in her remains. He drops the branch, catching his breath. Where is Azalea? Where is your sister? I gasp, and Peter looks up at me over his shoulder. With the others. I will take you, he tells me as he points toward the castle, and he runs ahead while I stagger, trying to keep up with him. I can hear fighting and the chaos of war. Peter runs up the incline as more children rush down the hill with staff. I see Clarice standing at the top when she suddenly screams, making my heart splutter in my chest, and adrenaline fuels me to move faster. I slip on the wet grass, coming up behind her to see Azalea stop, and Trey screams out for her at that exact second. I track her movements to see her go after Logan, who is walking into the line of fire and in the wrong direction. My eyes widen in horror, and my heart pumps erratically. A gasp escapes me when I see Azalea run directly into the path of the hunters to retrieve him. It feels like everything slows down, time almost stopping for a few fateful moments. Or maybe I think it does as I watch my mate risk her life to save the boy. Trey shoves Tyson into Clarice's arms and runs after her just as I regain my footing on the slippery slope when Abby screams out to her. Azalea lifts her head and looks at Abby just as Abby's body collides with Azalea's, her arms locking around her in a hug, and at the last second, Abby pivots. That's when I notice the hunter with his gun aimed directly at her. As the echoes of the gunshot tear through the air, a heart-stopping silence falls. I see Abby's body jolt against Azalea, their forms entwined. Time slows, almost to a halt, as the dreadful reality unfolds before my eyes. Azalea's face, a mask of raw, unfiltered horror, twists in agony as she clutches Abby closer. Her scream, a soul-shattering wail, cuts through the chaos, slicing into the marrow of my bones. It's a sound that etches itself into the core of my being, a haunting scream that makes my entire body cold as if bitten by frost. The profound pain that erupts through our bond is glacial, that seizes my heart and squeezes mercilessly. It's as if Azalea's anguished spirit reaches through the bond, clutching my soul, shredding it with her grief. At that moment, my own heart feels scorched, incinerated within my chest by the ferocity of her despair. Clutching my chest, I can barely keep my balance as I stagger down the hill, each step heavy, drawn toward Azalea's grieving figure. She cradles Abby's limp form, an image of devastating loss painted against the chaotic backdrop of battle. Azalea's cries pierce the air again, a broken, haunted melody of utter devastation. Abby! No! Her scream booms and cracks through the air like thunder. Her agony doesn't just scream, it erupts something from within her, knocking me on my ass. Sitting up, I find everyone shaken, sitting up like they too felt the agony through my bond with her. Ganon's howl rips through the sky, a sound of such profound loss that it mirrors the void opening inside me from Azalea. Tyson, his little face streaked with tears, breaks from Clarissa's grasp, his cries for his mother adding to the chorus of heartbreak. Trey tackles the hunter just as another shot fires, a near miss that sends a shiver down my spine. But all I can focus on is Azalea, her voice ragged as she rocks back and forth, clutching Abby to her chest. Abby! Abby! She screams into the void, her voice nothing but raw agony. She pleads, begs, her words a mantra of despair. You promised, you promised. More than my life, Abby, more than my life, she wails. Her cries don't just break the silence, they shatter it, sending shards scattering into the hearts of all who hear her. This isn't just grief, it's a soul being torn to pieces, a vivid, visceral loss so intense that it threatens to consume everything in its wake. It's as if her soul is dying with her. Just then, I notice the Eclipsarian nestled between her cleavage blink, catching on the light, making me look up. But there is no sun. My brows furrow, goosebumps lacing my skin from the cold void eating away at my insides. Hunters lay strewn across the ground, most of them dead as my guards and the Landina guards take out the last of them on the hill. Yet I can see more are coming up from the river and from around the sides of the castle. We are severely outnumbered, and all I can think is I need to get to Azalea, yet she isn't moving, and isn't letting her go, she just stops as if a part of her has died along with Abby. Logan escapes from in between Azalea and Abby, running to Clarisse as Azalea rocks back and forth on the ground with Abby clutched in her arms. More than my life! More than my life, she screams, her fingers tangling in Abby's hair, as if saying it loud enough will bring her back. Ganon, reaching her, falls to his knees, clutching his dead mate in his arms, forgetting the war going on around us. I am lost in the tragedy when I feel a blade slice down my back, forcing my attention back to the fight. I am forced to fight my way to them as I spin to find a hunter has come at me from the side, his dagger embedded in my side. I pull it free, my claws sinking into the side of his neck as I slash at him. Trey moves alongside me as hunters suddenly come from everywhere. From up over the hills, out of the forest, and spewing out from the castle, they just keep coming. Even those who had run for safety in the bunkers are now spewing back onto the battleground as hunters chase them back toward us. The Landina guards and my guards form a circle around our queen. Clarice flees with the kids, and Peter barely makes it past our circle of defense that offers little safety as all the guards move to cover their queen. Guns are drawn and aimed at my body, my back becoming a target as they unleash on us. I groan as a bullet hits me in my side, then my stomach, making me clutch it. Pain ricochets through me, and I stagger as I keep fighting. Nothing else matters, only Azalea does. Another bullet pierces through my shoulder when I hear her scream as she feels my pain. The ground shakes, and I am brought to my knees, my lungs wheezing for breath. Everyone pauses at the tremor in the ground, but I hear no explosion, which has me looking around nervously when Crux's booming voice echoes through smoke and dust as they surround us. This day will always be remembered as the day the Valkyrie kingdom fell. The day the hunters took the Lycania kingdoms down. We are circled entirely as Crux steps out of the shadows and smoke and onto the battlefield. His smug smile of triumph sears into me. He is a traitor to his own kind. A betrayer to all. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.